Everything I believed about my wife shattered in a single afternoon. Divorce papers were folded neatly inside my briefcase, waiting for my signature. I had convinced myself our marriage was beyond saving. But just before I walked into her mother's house to end everything, I overheard words that stopped me cold. My wife, fighting back tears, quietly admitted a heartbreaking secret she had hidden from me for years. In that moment, I realized I had been preparing to leave the one person who had been sacrificing everything to protect me. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel. Every story shared with our community reminds someone that love is often stronger than pride. My name is Garrett Lawson, and for nearly 8 years I thought I understood my marriage. My wife, Claire, had become distant. The laughter we once shared had disappeared. We barely spoke during meals, and every conversation seemed to end in silence. She often left the room when I entered, and I convinced myself she no longer loved me. Friends told me relationships sometimes simply ran their course. I believed them. I spent months working longer hours, hoping distance would make the decision easier. Every evening I returned to a quiet house where Claire smiled politely but never seemed truly happy. I mistook her sadness for indifference. I never asked what she was carrying because I was too busy carrying my own disappointment. One bright Saturday afternoon, I drove to her mother's home with divorce papers hidden inside my briefcase. Claire had gone there earlier to help prepare lunch. I planned to ask her to step outside after the meal so we could end our marriage peacefully. As I reached the front porch, I heard voices through the slightly open kitchen window. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but my own name caught my attention. Claire's voice trembled as she spoke to her mother. She admitted she had secretly sold almost every piece of jewelry her late grandmother had left her. She confessed she had been paying for my younger brother's addiction treatment because she knew I already blamed myself for not helping him sooner. She explained she had hidden the payments because she couldn't bear watching me drown in guilt. Then she quietly revealed something that completely broke my heart. Months earlier, doctors had diagnosed her with a serious medical condition that required expensive treatment. She refused to tell me because my company was already struggling financially. She feared I would sell my business to save her, so instead she chose to postpone her own treatment while secretly spending everything she owned helping my family. Her mother begged her to tell me the truth. Claire answered through tears that she wanted me to believe she had simply fallen out of love. She thought it would make it easier for me to leave if her illness became worse. She couldn't bear the thought of watching me lose everything because of her. The divorce papers suddenly felt heavier than stone. For several minutes I stood frozen outside that window, unable to breathe. Every complaint I had ever made about my wife echoed painfully inside my mind. Every cold silence I had interpreted as rejection had actually been quiet suffering. I walked away before they noticed me. Instead of entering the house, I sat alone inside my car with tears streaming down my face for the first time in years. I wasn't losing my marriage. I had nearly abandoned the woman who had been protecting me all along. The following morning, under warm sunshine, I returned home before Claire arrived. I removed the divorce papers from my briefcase and fed them into the fireplace one page at a time until nothing remained except ashes. When Claire came home later that afternoon, she looked exhausted. She apologized for being away so long, believing I was probably angry. Instead of asking questions, I simply wrapped my arms around her. She stood completely still. Then she quietly began crying against my shoulder. For the first time in months, neither of us pretended everything was fine. Over the next several hours we shared every truth we had hidden from each other. I admitted I had mistaken her silence for rejection. She admitted she believed pushing me away was the greatest act of love she could offer if her health continued to decline. We both realized that fear had become louder than trust. The weeks that followed were not easy. Claire finally began receiving the treatment she needed. I worked fewer hours and spent more time beside her. My younger brother completed rehabilitation and discovered who had secretly paid for every session. He fell to his knees in gratitude, overwhelmed by the kindness Claire had shown without asking for recognition. Slowly, our home filled with laughter again. Not because life became perfect, but because honesty replaced silence. Months later, my business recovered after several loyal employees volunteered new ideas that transformed the company. When they learned about Claire's sacrifices, they organized a fundraiser that covered nearly every remaining medical expense before I even knew it existed. For the first time in years, our family celebrated together without pretending everything was perfect. We had learned that strength doesn't come from hiding pain. It comes from carrying it together. One sunny afternoon, I took Claire back to the small riverside park where I had proposed years earlier. I knelt once again, holding the same wedding ring she had worn since our first day as husband and wife. This time I wasn't asking her to marry me. I was asking her to forgive the man who almost stopped believing in the woman he loved most. She smiled through happy tears and slipped the ring back onto her finger, reminding me that forgiveness is sometimes the greatest gift love can offer. Before this story ends, I'd love to ask you something. Have you ever misunderstood someone you loved before learning the truth? Leave a meaningful comment below because your experience might encourage someone who feels alone today. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Remember, many relationships don't end because love disappears. They end because fear replaces honesty. Sometimes the conversation you are afraid to have is the very one that can save everything you thought was already lost.